years of anxiety for millions of people. But the Cold War also provided a great creative output musically. I'm Margot, your host for Music 101. This week on Music 101, we'll explore the music that came out during the Cold War from the 1950s through the 1980s. This week on Music 101.
As small as a beetle, as big as a wheel. Boom, atomic cocktail.
Music 101, Sunday evenings at 7 on Radio St. George 100.3. And now this health tip from Stapley Pharmacy.
Sore throats stink. Often when a college student gets a sore throat, they reach for the over-the-counter, sugary, dreadful tasting cough drop in an often unsuccessful attempt to relieve that awful, scratchy feeling. All the while, you are missing your classes. Instead, how about a flavored lollipop that contains a numbing agent that blocks the pain signals to your brain? It's perfect for post-tonsillectomy or oral surgery and can even help with pain from cankers and herpes breakouts. Sore throat lollipops won't take the place of an antibiotic if you're sick, but will help with your pain. These lollipops must be prescribed by a physician, but your on-campus health center is familiar with this product. All you have to do is ask your provider for a prescription. If you have questions, talk to your favorite pharmacist, and remember, your pharmacist is your most accessible medical professional. Stapley Pharmacy has your prescription for success.
Friday Night Jazz with Dr. Glenn Webb. Friday evenings from 7 to 9 on Radio St. George 100.3 FM.
Good morning and welcome to KDXI St. George, Radio St. George at 100.3 FM. It's our pleasure to present to you The Garden Show with Artie and Woody. It's time to find out, how does your garden grow? Here are your hosts for The Garden Show, Artie and Woody.
Hey, that's us.
It is.
Oh my goodness, we're famous.
You know, that music makes me want to go ride horses.
It does? That's horse riding music?
That's horse riding music.
Really?
Yeah. You know me, I've got a lot of horses too.
Hey, good morning, everybody. It's time for the huge Woody and Artie Home and Garden Show, and we're here on KXDI Saturday morning at 8 o'clock, and this is exciting.
We're broadcasting to the servicemen all over the world and ships at sea. And
absolutely.
The Antarctic. We're going down there because they have big gardens. And
you bet. You've heard of the CBS radio network or the NBC radio network or Westwood One or whatever.
Hey,
we are the Rolling Dumpster Fire Radio Network. that's what they call our syndicator.
That could be bad if you were asleep in one of those.
And so what's great about technology these days, Woody, not only are we live on the airwaves of 100.3 KXDI St. George here in beautiful St. George, broadcasting live from the beautiful campus of Dixie State University, but we are also streaming live on Facebook and also YouTube. So find Radio St. George and participate.
Tune us in.
Yeah, tune us in.
You can see us in all our glory.
And
see how good looking Artie is.
Oh boy, you know, I have a face for radio.
Yeah,
it's just and folks, if you'd like to participate in the program, we would love to hear from you. It's 435. What's our number? 435-879-4100. Is that what it is?
No, I don't know.
Yeah, no, wait, hold on. 435-879-4100. Here.
You think?
No, just stall for a second.
Okay.
Let me call it. Hold on. So tell us about
today's show.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to do a lot of fun things today, and we're going to kind of have a smorgasbord again where we answer questions, and we're going to start, spring is finally here, and everybody's excited. The home centers, the big box stores are all busy in their garden centers, and there's a lot going on, and we're going to talk about when you go and you buy your plants and how to put them in the ground, and then we're going to talk about digging up and splitting your daisies and different things and replanting those, what to do and how to do that. And we're going to talk about poisoning the Roundup kind of stuff, the grass and weeds.
I have questions about that, most definitely. Okay.
So anyway, did you find the number?
Well, let's see if it works. Let's see if it works.
It works.
Hello, Radio St. George 100.3. Can I help you?
Yeah, Artie. This is one of the best programs here in southern Utah. Just want to let you know that your phone number to the station is 435-879-4100. 435-879-4100. So you can call or text you guys. So that's great.
Hey,
Artie,
I think that sounded like me calling up.
You're a sick ticket.
That actually sounded like me.
It did. It sounded like you with your back turned out the door.
All right. You know what? You have a lot of things on the docket, so to speak, to talk about.
And a show.
Yeah, let's get going, I guess.
Okay. When we go and we buy tomatoes, and they're a foot high, and we take them home to plant them, what's the best way to plant them? Tomatoes do not like being sprinkled overhead. You get mildew and things on the leaves.
They don't like
you want to have a sprinkler system with a drip or an emitter that puts the water right in a small area, and you want to plant the plant right in that area. I had the emitters or the drip heads, but last year I had the plants too far away from them. This year I put them right below the bubblers so that the water drips right on them.
Okay. And Woody, I have a question. If what do you do, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, what if you do, or what if you don't have, rather, a drip line system? Because I know I have in my little area, in my house. Is there a workaround if you don't have a drip line system?
Well, you can do it off a regular sprinkler pipe and put a bubbler instead, and they're adjustable. And you can, so once the bubbler is in the right position, then you can turn the head and adjust the amount of water that it gets.
Okay.
But this year, instead of putting the plants where I want them and then trying to get the water to them, I put the water in, and then I put the plant where the water is.
Okay.
So, and the other thing, when you get the tomato plant home or tomato plants, you want to take the little plastic pot off, and where it has the roots, they'll kind of be yellow, and they're kind of like somebody combed your hair in a hairdo,
Yeah.
And you want to take your knife or your shovel and scratch those a little bit. That stimulates the roots to grow once they get in the ground.
Oh, now do you do that with tomato plants or any plant?
Any plant.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. You don't want to. I don't want you to think that you really rough them up a lot, but I usually take my fingers, or I'll take my razor knife or a screwdriver and just scratch them a little so that they're rough.
And so the water could get in, and it can kind of establish things.
Right,
there.
because everywhere there's an end, there's going to be a root. So you don't want the roots wound around like they are when they've been in a pot a long time. Mm-hmm. You want to kind of loosen those. And then you want to dig the hole fairly deep, because in St. George we have the heat, and if you put it down fairly deep, it's going to have a bigger root system on it. Mm-hmm. And tomatoes are the one plant that I know of, if you trim the bottom branches off, if you take a pair of scissors and trim them off, and then you bury that portion down below the ground where those limbs were, roots will come out.
Really?
Not more limbs, but roots. And it'll give you a better root system for the hot weather. So those are things to think about with the tomatoes.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, that works really well. And so you want to have your soil ready. You want to have it loose. You want to have maybe some good compost in there, and then dig a fairly deep hole and put them in, maybe cut the bottom 2 or 3 limbs and then put them down and bury them up. And then you can use root starter. It's used to be vitamin B12 that they use to stimulate the roots. Mm-hmm. Now it's a hormone. It's a different thing than the vitamin B, but it really does work. It's the kind of thing where you take a pail and you put maybe a gallon of water in it, then you take a tablespoon of that starter and mix it in the water and then water the plant with it, and it'll actually stimulate the roots to grow.
Oh, okay.
So
that makes sense.
They get a better start that way, okay? And a lot of those things that we just got through talking about are true of all vegetables that you can buy. You know, a lot of the stores have got, I know Star's got their little 4-inch pots, any vegetable for 98 cents. You know, you can buy squash, you can buy peppers, you can buy just about anything. And it's those rules that we just talked about are true for all of them. You know, you want to put them where the water is, because if you have a raised bed garden or a regular garden and you have the water a couple of feet away and you're trying to get it over to the plant, it's difficult. Mm-hmm. So you want to put the plant where the water is.
Okay.
All right. And then you want to consider things like exposure to the sun. All of your vegetables need about 6 hours of sunshine every day. So you want to be careful to do that. And then don't overcrowd them. Don't put them too close together. They say at least a foot apart. I'd say at least 1.5 feet apart, because those tomatoes plants are going to get larger, and if they grow together, it cuts down the productivity and it invites disease to come in and get the plant. You want the plant to be able to have sunshine on the leaves, and you want the air to be able to move through the plant. So you don't want it so thick and dense that won't happen.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Makes sense.
And this last week, I've got my front garden, and I've got a lot of flowers and stuff that I've started there. And so I've been digging up a lot of my daisies and coreopsis and gaillardia and my irises and my lilies. And I've been splitting them and putting half of it back in the hole and then taking a lot of those around back and putting them in the garden.
And I remember from past shows you mentioned that splitting actually helps.
It does.
It actually helps.
It does. Absolutely.
And why does it help again?
Well, anything that has a bulb on it, as it grows and it multiplies, it gets a big nest of bulbs under the ground. And it gets almost, it's not an accurate statement, but you could call it root bound. And it gets too much to handle, and it's hard to get the water to it and so on. And if you, irises are a good example. If you dig those out and you've got a root ball that's, or a tubular root system that's maybe 6 or 8 inches across, if you take and put pressure on that in the middle, it'll snap.
It will.
It'll snap.
Huh.
And then you can take the part that's snapped off, put the one back in the ground, and then take the one that's snapped off and cut the vegetation down. You know, they've got these big, tall leaves. Cut that off right above the bulb and take it around to wherever you want to put it and dig a new hole. Put it down so that just the top of the leaves are showing where you cut it. And then pack the soil around it, and then you need to water it more than normal for about a week.
So with the branches snapping like that, does that compromise the plant?
No,
It doesn't.
no. That's how they do it, and it works really well. And lilies are the same way. They have a bulb type of root system, and you can dig those up and split them. Daisies don't have a bulb system. They have just regular roots, and you dig those out and just take your hand shovel and kind of slice them down the middle and take part of it and put it somewhere else. Coreopsis is the same, and Gaillardia. Gaillardia is a beautiful flower. It's the nickname for it is blanket flower because it'll grow a bush about 2 feet to 3 feet tall and about 3 feet wide, and it'll be pure blossoms, and they're orange and red and yellow, and they last for weeks and weeks and weeks, and you'll have just it looks almost like somebody's taking a blanket and laid over the bush, and it's that thick and beautiful.
Well, Woody, a couple weeks ago, he actually gave me some of his splits, and I put them in planters. I'll be honest with you, boy, this is embarrassing. I was too lazy, all right, to plant them, because I have rocks, little rocks all around my house, and I was just, I half-assed it, and I started to dig, and there's rocks everywhere.
And you got scared.
Yes, I got scared because I have no idea what I'm doing. Because you're the garden expert. I'm not. So I got some planters. I put them in the planters, and they're actually coming up. Except what's not coming up is the blue bonnets.
I thought they were coming. I thought you said they were
with the little burpee
seed starting.
Yes, they did a little bit. And then, so I was thinking, okay, well, I'll plant them in the planter, transfer them to the planter, and they're nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, you don't want to transplant them until they're 3-4 inches high.
Well, see, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But I'm thinking maybe they need a year to sit in there and get comfortable.
Yeah, not a year, but a couple of 4 or 5 weeks. Yeah.
Well, they have to they have to feel comfortable. They have to lay out their carpet and
you might look around. Maybe one of your cats ate them.
They probably did.
Yeah.
But no, I mean they have to bring in some furniture, and they need to make sure that they feel comfortable, in my planter with their big screen TV and so I'm thinking
get them a Chase lounge.
Exactly. So I'm thinking next year they'll be okay because they'll be, all situated, in their new home, ready to go.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, maybe they'll be next year. Maybe there won't. Maybe the guy that gave you the seeds won't give you any more because you're killing them.
I'm not killing them.
One of the other issues.
All right, I am killing them.
One of the other issues that I want to talk about, I went out to my front garden and I started to transplant and to pull up weeds, and I ran into a self-inflicted situation where about 10 years ago, we put in some starts of periwinkle. Periwinkle's a rambling shrub that has little tentacles that go out everywhere.
Oh.
And then this time of year, they bloom a little purplish blue bloom. And it grows everywhere. And the other thing was peppermint. Peppermint is the worst thing that you can put in your garden.
Why is that?
It's horrible. It
smells great.
Yeah, but it's like this cancer. It's growing everywhere. And I went out there, and the garbage cans that St. George City gives you? I filled one of those with peppermint that I pulled out.
Really, that many?
My suggestion is if you're going to plant periwinkle or peppermint, do it in a pot. If you put them in the garden, you're asking for trouble for the rest of your life.
Well, you'll be filling.
You'll be pulling it out and filling it every year.
Garbage cans left and right.
Yeah, they're horrible.
Well, you know what's a little side note? Gosh, my lawn chair neighbor. You know, she likes to sit in her lawn chair.
Beulah.
Beulah. Or maybe it's Velma or Bluma. Anyway, so she likes to sit in her lawn chair and with binoculars, and she likes to peek and
right.
see what I'm doing. And what's awesome is that she's a snowbird, so she and her husband will be leaving in a couple of weeks. So when I get garbage can full of leaves and dead things. I'll just throw it over the fence.
Well,
because she's a snowbird. She's not going to be there.
Planted peppermint where your lawn chair is. It would grow up and entrap her.
Really?
And grow around her, and there would just be this outline of a plant that looks like her.
I digress. I just derailed the show. All right.
Well, that's okay. We need a little derailment now and then.
Let's get back to it.
Okay, there's. I wanted to talk again about herbicides. I want you to understand. Artie has a little bit of a problem understanding this, so I think maybe a lot of our listeners do. There's three types of herbicide. There's a herbicide that kills anything with a broad leaf. And that would be like Weed Be Gone.
Okay.
And, so it's going to kill clover. It's going to kill anything like that in your lawn that has a broad leaf.
Okay.
Or if you put it in your garden, it's going to kill your roses. It's going to kill anything with a broad leaf. Then there's a type that kills narrow leaf like grass.
So you're not talking herbicide, you're talking about pesticide.
No, I'm talking herbicide.
Oh, okay.
So
you know what you're talking about? Why do I need to even question you?
Be quiet, after all.
So you're asking me to turn off my mic.
Yeah. No, listen. So you've got the stuff that kills a broadleaf, and then there's times when you want to kill grass, like it's coming up in the crack in your driveway.
Okay.
And you want to spray that and kill it. Then there's the new type, the Roundup type, and it's called grass and weed killer, and it kills both.
Okay.
It kills any kind of vegetation. So that's the kind of thing you want to use when it doesn't matter to you. If it kills the grass too.
And friendly reminder, you don't want to squirt that on fruit trees.
No, not at all. Yeah, yeah. So be aware of that. Like Artie's got some spurge in his front lawn. He needs to get some Weed Be Gone and spray it. But if he got Roundup and sprayed it, then you'd lose your lawn too. So you want to be sure you're getting the right stuff.
Well, I got like 4 gallons of something.
Oh.
And by the way, it wasn't securely, the lid wasn't on.
Oh, that's right.
And, oh boy, I went driving around town.
You killed your car.
Oh my gosh, that stuff smells.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I was wondering, what is that smell? It's like, oh.
You're lucky it didn't kill you.
Well, it was pretty darn strong.
Yeah.
So anyway, I opened up the trunk, and it was just, that crap was everywhere. So I went back to Walmart, got another bottle, and my weeds don't die. They still don't.
You sprayed your leaves?
Yeah,
your
I sprayed with the same stuff that I.
And what was it? What brand?
Oh,
you remember?
I think Equate or whatever the Walmart brand is, but that didn't work. So I need to. I guess I should just break down and buy the name brand stuff.
We'll look at it today.
Yeah, but the name brand stuff. I mean, what's your opinion about? I mean, is it worth it buying the name brand stuff?
You can't beat the name brand. The problem is when you're cheap, like I am,
and me too.
You're always looking to save a little money.
Yeah.
And I've had pretty good luck with the store brands.
Okay.
But One of the things that men hate to do is read instructions. And
see, that's probably
it's
I know
a
that's
possibility that you didn't read the instructions.
No, you're right. You're right. You're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So you know what I've decided to do? I've decided to actually pour gasoline on those weeds in the different areas, and I'm
that'll kill them.
yeah, I'm just gonna light them on fire.
Burn your house down and your yard down. You'll burn your house down, and the only thing left will be your lawn. It'll still be there. Okay, this is a good time, if you've got time, to do the old Stephen R. Covey stuff about sharpen your saw.
Okay.
Only we're there's not too many of us that use saws anymore unless we're trimming trees. But you can sharpen your chainsaw. You can take your loppers and sharpen them. The way that I do them, or the little hand clippers, there's always a bolt and a nut where they crisscross, and you take that nut off and take them apart because you can't sharpen them when they're together. And then I have a little belt sander, one of those little ones that go.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'll take and run it across the belt sander and sharpen it with that, about 100 or about 200 grit, 200, maybe 300 grit. And, you can feel it with your finger and you can tell when it's sharp, and then put it back together and then go trim your rose or whatever and see how sharp it is. It'll make a lot of difference. It's frustrating to sit and try to cut something when you got dull
Absolutely.
Clippers.
Absolutely.
So try to, you can spend maybe an hour and do every clipper or every cutter you got on the place.
Woody, let's do this. Let's do a quick little break. And what will we be talking about after the break? You brought in a whole bunch of items for show and tell.
We're going to talk about sprinkler repair after the break.
Okay, so we're going to go to the break. This is KXDI Radio St. George, and this is the Garden Show with Woody and Artie.
Hola, I am composer Elvio Barilari, your host for Fiesta. Please join me for Danzón, a program of Mexican composer Arturo Márquez. We will feature his very well-known Danzón, as well as some other gorgeous pieces by this living composer. Next on Fiesta.
Fiesta, Thursdays at noon on Radio St. George 100.3. Even Stevens, a community partner and sponsor of the radio program at DSU. Not only does Even Stevens offer soups, salads, sandwiches, DoorDash delivery, and catering, but Even Stevens also donates a lot to local nonprofit organizations, helping them so they can more readily help others. 471 East St. George Boulevard. Thank you, Even Stevens. Now it's time for another edition of Did You Know? Brought to you by Your Family Still Matters. Did you know that a solar oven allows you to bake an egg using the sunlight and can also sanitize your food? And with solar, you can charge your phone. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Well, now you do. Did You Know? Brought to you by Your Family Still Matters. With violins, food storage, and solar products. At 175 West, 900 South in St. George, right behind Pizza Hut on Bluff. It's Your Family Still Matters. Radio is theater of the mind, requiring your imagination. But if you're lacking, log into radiostgeorge.com and see radio live for yourself. It's our 24/7 webcam with audio. Take a peek at radiostgeorge.com.
Classical music the way it should be on Radio St. George at 100.3 FM.
We now return to the Garden Show with Artie and Woody.
Oh, and we're back.
Hello.
You know what this is sounding like?
A program?
A real radio program.
Oh, that scares me.
Isn't that exciting?
Yeah, I'm starting to shake. I'm nervous.
Why are you scared?
I don't know. It's just, It's just so scary.
All right, so
Artie's got some stuff over there that he's going to hold up for you.
Yeah.
There you go, the steak. Hold that one up.
Okay,
right there.
well, tell us why I'm holding this up and what this is. And
what it is, it's a new product. It's been out a couple of years, but you take and you it's pretty heavy duty. It's heavy PVC. And if you look at it, quit moving it, Artie.
Okay.
Where's the camera?
And this is radio.
Oh, that's right.
We need to explain to people kind of what this is, but we can also let them know that you could go to Facebook Live and see this.
Anyway, it's got holes in it all the way down, and the holes are made to let the water out to water your trees. So you take a rubber mallet. And you probably have to soak the tree for a while first to make it soft down by the roots, and go out a couple of feet, and you pound it in.
Okay.
And then right up on the top, there's a hole that's made for a 1/4-inch sprinkler line.
Oh, so you put the sprinkler line at the top.
The little 1/4-inch one. And then when it waters, it fills the stake with water. And then those little holes that have the little screens on, that's where the water soaks into the roots of the tree.
Okay.
And they're about $8 or $10, but that's heavy duty stuff. It'll last for years. And it gets the water down by the roots of the tree. It's a good product.
Now, let me ask you this, Woody. Do you recommend this just for problem areas, for problem trees, or for all of your trees?
I think that especially if you have problem trees.
Okay.
Yeah. I've got an eastern redbud on my front lawn that I just love, and it's all bloomed out right now.
Uh-huh.
But all of a sudden, it comes out of the ground and it forks, and so I got actually 2 trunks that come up. It's like a Y in the plant, and one side of the tree is blooming like crazy, and the other other side's having trouble coming out, and I don't know what it is. I've put some different medicines on and so on. But that would be a good place to put one of those stakes.
But the stake thing is actually, it's a good workaround.
Yeah, it really is.
Boy, you brought a lot of show and tell items.
Yeah. Hold up the blue canister business. There you go.
Okay.
The Bayer. That's what I was talking about a couple of weeks ago. Bayer tree and shrub feed and protection. It's systemic, and there's 2 forms. There's a granulated, which that is, and then there's a liquid. And you put that on, either mix it with water and pour it on, or you pour it around the tree, the granulated, and then just let it water in. And it goes up the roots of the tree, into the tree, and if you have anything like borers or any insect on that tree will die.
Okay, so
it's just not to be used on fruit trees and stuff, because you'll die too.
And once again, this is a 12-month tree and shrub protect and feed.
And the best time to do it is right now in the spring, when the borers are trying to eat your tree up.
That's exactly what my next question was.
Yeah.
You read my mind.
Yeah, you can do it in the fall. You can do it in the summer. It doesn't hurt the tree, but if you're interested in protecting it from borers, right now is the time.
Wonderful. So,
and they run about $20 for a quart, and like the liquid, you'll take 3 gallons of water and put 1 tablespoon of stuff in it, so it goes a long way.
Does it?
Yeah.
Again, this is radio, so you probably are not able to see the wonderful things that Woody brought in. However, you can go on YouTube or Facebook. Yeah.
And we promise to not make you look at us. We'll let you look at those things. All right, now sprinkler repair. Artie, the long white one.
Oh my goodness, I don't even want to talk about sprinkler repair.
Yeah. Okay, show the people.
I have a sprinkler problem, a sprinkler issue, and I am lucky enough to have my good friend Woody, and I pay him in caffeine-free Diet Coke to come out
Yeah, he's been giving me 12 packs, and I'm going to raise my price to cases.
Cases of diet caffeine-free diet Coke.
You know, one of the hard things about PVC sprinklers is always that it's rigid, and you have to go in a straight line, and that becomes especially a problem if you have tree roots growing around.
So
this is flexible, and not only is it flexible, but it has the fittings on each end, and they're what they call slip fittings. So what you would do is if you had a 3/4 inch line, you would have a splice on each end, and you would have it glued on, and then you would take this and put it in the one end and then bend it around the root and put it in the other end, and they work really well, and they can really save you a lot of problems.
So this is called the flexible coupling made by the company Dura, and I guess an example that you're alluding to, if you have a tree root or something in the way,
right,
and you need to somehow divert,
Plus, with sprinklers, if you're trying to fill a gap, you don't have any slack on either end. And so if it's flexible, you can put it in one end and bend it and then straighten it as you put it in the other end. And it allows you to put them together without having to dig up 30 feet of sprinklers so that you have
that makes sense.
The flexibility.
Here, I'll hold up this little diagram to the camera, but it has a little diagram of tree roots and how this flexible PVC pipe thing comes into play, where it just goes up and over.
All the stores and that have it now, so that's kind of an interesting thing.
There we go.
Artie, hold up the one with the sprinkler head on.
This one right here?
No,
the other one.
Yeah.
Okay, so what this is, it looks like a regular sprinkler head, and then
a riser.
There's a whole bunch of little groove things that are attached. And so tell us what that is.
Okay, so you got the sprinkler head and you've got a riser. And then down below, you'll see that the fitting that's the PVC, the white fitting, it's like a saddle. It's open at the bottom. And it is spaced so that if you have a 3/4 inch pipe, you can put some glue on it and then push it down on the pipe. This is where there's not a head, you're adding a head. And you push it down on the pipe, let it dry for a half hour, and then take the riser off and take a 1/2 inch drill and drill into the pipe.
Oh, that makes sense.
And now then you put the riser back and you've got a riser where you didn't have one before.
See, I didn't know what the heck this was.
And you don't have to cut the pipe. You glue it on when it's all one piece. You glue it on and then you drill it.
So, just to describe this to people on the radio, it's kind of like a PVC pipe, and it looks like a T, and the PVC pipe does not have any holes on it. And what he was talking about is, so you're gluing it on the existing pipe, and then you're drilling a new hole
through it and through the pipe,
and then you're screwing the connectors on to add on a sprinkler. This is cool.
Yeah, it's really cool,
wow.
And they work really well.
Huh.
I've never had one that leaked or anything. They're good.
And I'm trying to hold this up to the our little wonderful
camera.
YouTube and Facebook camera, so you know what we're talking about. So that's kind of cool.
Now let's talk about the glue, Artie.
Oh, okay. Well, I've been sniffing it before the show.
I could tell.
Oh boy.
Now there's. I went over yesterday to Lowe's and I got to see my friend John, and he's a really knowledgeable guy. It's really great to have somebody there that is knowledgeable.
Absolutely.
Instead of a 14-year-old kid that they're paying $2 an hour to,
And they have great people not only at Lowe's but also at Star and Home Depot and what's that place in Hurricane? Ballards?
Yeah.
Yep.
For years, I've used a product called Red Hot. And Red Hot is is blue in color, which doesn't make sense, but it's blue, and you don't need a primer with it. And he was telling me, and since it was John, I kind of believe him. But he said that he never puts anything together with PVC that he doesn't use the primer. Now, the primer's the can you just had held up.
Oh, okay.
It's purple in color.
Okay.
And you take the little dabber and you dab the end of the pipe, and then you dab the fitting inside. And what it does is it changes the chemical makeup of the PVC to be receptive to the glue.
Okay.
There's a chemical reaction that takes place.
So if you just put the glue on, it doesn't work.
It can work, but it can fail too.
Okay.
And he said that he uses the primer, and he says, I've never had one fail. So you use the primer, now hold the glue up.
Okay.
And this is a new product in the glue situation, and it's called, let's see what it's called. It's called Rain or Shine. And, you know, when you're down doing repairs below the surface of the lawn, a lot of times it's a wet environment. This particular cement works in a wet environment. So you put the primer on, you wait a few seconds, and then you put this on, and then you put the pipe together and wait about 20 minutes, and it's good forever.
And if you take too many whiffs of this, you'll be seeing stars and donkeys and unicorns.
Stars and stripes, pink elephants.
You bet. And you're going to be floating in clouds of cotton candy.
Yeah. Now, those are they each run about $5 or $6 a can. Okay. But I'll tell you what, they go a long way.
So let me just read off the brand for those people that can't go to YouTube or Facebook. It's Oatly, the primer. Oops, yeah, the primer. Which is the primer? Oh, there we go. The primer is Oatly purple primer, and
preparatory to putting the fitting together.
Okay. And then after you let that dry for maybe half an hour or an hour?
No, just a few minutes on the primer.
Then you put on the Oatly, same brand.
Rain or Shine.
Rain or Shine, medium blue PVC cement, and you're in business. So there you go.
Yep. And that's it's an extra step to use the primer, but he says it's better, and if somebody else told me that, I might not believe him, but I do with him.
That's cool.
Yeah. Okay, now there's some other fittings over there.
Okay.
Are there not?
Yeah, there's tons.
Okay, that is a new type of fitting. They're a little more expensive. They'll be a couple of bucks instead of 60 cents.
Okay, so I'm going to put up
a T. That's a T.
Okay.
And they have half inch, they have 3/4, they have 1 inch, and all you have to do is take the PVC and push it in to the opening, and it has a set of teeth in there that grabs it. It's like a Chinese handcuff. Okay. You can put it in, but you can't pull it out.
So, Woody, can you explain the application, or why would you need something like this?
Well, it's, again, when you're trying to do a repair and it's rigid and you can't get any flexibility.
Oh, I see. I see what we're saying.
Yeah, you can. This helps you in that environment. Plus, it's quick. You don't have to have cement. I've used these for the last 2 or 3 years, and I've never had one leak.
Wow.
In fact, I put one together on a manifold last year, and I turned the water on, and it was dripping. And I realized that when I put it together, it had not been straight on. It was kind of a little bit of an angle, like about 10 degrees, you know.
Okay.
So I took my pry bar and I straightened it, and it slipped the rest of the way in, and it quit leaking.
Oh. Huh.
But what the really neat thing about this is, you can put this on PVC, you can put it on copper, you can put it on galvanized steel. All it has to do is be 3/4 inch.
And you know what? This would actually serve another purpose. if you needed like a heart transplant. I mean, look at this. You know, I'm showing this on Facebook and YouTube.
Yeah, they use them for that.
This doesn't look like a gardening supply, Woody. This looks like I'm holding up. Yeah, I'm holding up medical supplies. Are you sure these are not medical supplies?
I installed a water softener for a lady, and I bought some of those. Mm-hmm. And I put the water softener in the garage, and it had the copper pipe coming out of the wall.
Okay.
And then it had all the fittings on the water softener.
Okay.
And I used those fittings, and in 20 minutes, I had that water softener working.
No kidding.
Oh, I mean, you just slip it together. Like if you have an old house that has galvanized pipe, you can cut that pipe off in the middle of the run. Doesn't even have to have threads or anything. You can slip that thing on and then put PEX or copper in the other end, and away you go.
Well, let's talk about these other things.
They're just the same thing, only a straight splice instead of a T.
So how do we describe these on radio? So they look like couplings where a PVC pipe or
on the end it's
can connect to both ends.
See if you can, and then inside there's a ring of teeth, and then there's a rubber grommet in there, and boy, when they grab, they really grab.
Could you remind us one more time what the application is for this? So, it's the same with the T, right?
It's just to save time, and it's especially good when you're going from one type of pipe to the other.
Okay, we're talking about easy, quick fixes to
no glue involved.
Issues.
No
glue on these.
Yeah.
Because they have the little
teeth. They just grip.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's pretty neat, and like I say, they're a little more expensive, but especially I can remember I went up to fix a sprinkler system up at the cabin, and it had old galvanized pipe feeding the sprinklers.
Yeah.
And it was under the cement. It went under the cement into the cabin.
Oh, that's a nightmare.
And so guess what? I just hacksawed it off, put one of these on, then started my PVC, and it worked great.
Wow.
No leaks.
Okay, we have one final thing.
That's a telescoping repair sleeve.
All right, so let me put this up on the video screen so you can see it on Facebook or
now,
YouTube.
That's a 1/2 inch one. That's a smaller one. They have them in 3/4 and 1 inch and 1 1/2 inch, 1 1/4.
So explain to our audience who that do not have access to Facebook or YouTube. Explain what it is.
They're about 7 inches long, and if you have an opening that you have rigid conduit or rigid PVC on both ends, and you can't get the flexibility to put a splice in it, you cut it 8 inches. You cut it 8 inches in between.
Oh, because there's layers, and so you cut it. You cut
the pipe, not that.
Oh, okay.
So then you glue the one end, the bigger end in.
Okay.
You glue that end in, wait for it to dry, and then on the other end, you've got a gap where you cut it a little wider.
Okay.
You pull that out, and you put a splice on it, and you extend that. It will extend 1.5 inches, and it fills in. Pull it.
Okay. I'm going to break it. Oh, there we go. It extends.
Yeah. Look.
Okay, look. Okay.
See? And I'll bet I've used 30 or 40 of these in my career as a sprinkler repair person. And I've never had one leak. They work really well, and they save you so much time. They cost about $4 a piece, and it's worth every penny.
Let's do this, Woody. You have so many great ideas for these quick fixes to irrigation systems or what's it called, sprinkler heads and sprinkler lines. Let's do this. I want to take pictures of all of this stuff, and then we're going to post this on our Radio St. George website, a little blog where you can explain what we were talking about during the show to the people.
Sounds like a good idea. Yeah.
Let's do that because, I mean, yeah.
They work really well, and the reason I'm doing it is because all of them are time savers and make it convenient. And let's face it, when you're laying on your stomach working in a sprinkler box, the less time you spend down there, the better off you are.
Okay.
And especially when a product is a good product and it's not something that's going to leak. Another thing I wanted to mention, Artie, if you hold that up,
okay,
turn it so you can see the end of it, the end of the pipe. You see the thickness of that pipe? There's two types of pipe, Schedule 20, and this is Schedule 40.
Now what does
And
that mean?
Schedule 20 is thin pipe. It's cheap, and if it's on the ground, you step on it, it'll crack. It's that thin.
Okay.
It's like paper thin. Even if that's what you've got under the ground, when you do your repairs, use Schedule 40. Don't use Schedule 20. It's just not worth it. It freezes easy. It cracks easy. It wears out. It's horrible stuff.
Okay.
And this pipe and fittings and everything you buy is Schedule 40, and that's what you want. So if you look and they have two different kinds of pipe, and one's Schedule 20, and of course it's cheaper, but don't fall for that. Get Schedule 40.
You brought in a lot of wonderful examples, and so I think that's what we're going to do. If you don't mind, we're gonna take pictures, and you're gonna describe them a little bit further on our Facebook page. Of course, give us a little half an hour to an hour or so
or 5 days.
Or 5 days. Or 5 days to put all this stuff up on our website, because I'm sure there's many people that have sprinkler issues,
this
big
time
and
of year.
small.
Yeah.
And you got to get this taken care of.
You go over to Lowe's, and they have this great big aisle of sprinkler stuff, and there's always 2 or 3 guys standing there kind of scratching their heads, wondering what they should buy to fix their sprinklers.
Well, I'm usually that guy, but I'm usually in the 4 aisles over trying to look for the sprinkler stuff. And
you haven't even found the sprinkler stuff.
Oh no! Well, I come across the I come across the dryer air vent tubing, and I think that's it.
That's good. Artie. That's really good.
So that's what we'll do. That sounds cool.
One of the things that you need to remember particularly is if it's a pipe and it has a hole in it, that's not good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you want to avoid that. One issue I wanted to talk about is the type of, when you're planting certain kinds of vegetables, as an example, tomatoes, squash, cucumbers, you want to irrigate them from down below. You want a little drip on them or a bubbler head.
Okay.
You don't want to sprinkle them. When you sprinkle them, you get a mildew on the leaves, and it can kill the plant.
Oh.
So, and you need to resist the urge of taking your hose and sprinkling it. And if you're going to water it, if you don't trust your sprinklers and you think they need some extra water, take the nozzle off and just let it run down in by the plant. There are vegetables that you can water overhead, like carrots, radishes, grass, those kind of things, and they're fine. But there are ones that it's really a bad thing to water them. And don't water them at night before you go to bed or during the night. Water them in the morning when the sun's going to be there. So if they do get water on the leaves, the sun will dry it out before radishes, the grass, mildew gets those kind of things. And there's actually little spores of mildew in the air.
And people think it's beneficial to water at night.
Yeah.
And so what you're saying is that
it's good from the standpoint of you get benefit of all your water. It's bad from the standpoint of you're creating a situation there where the spores can light in that water, and then they start to grow, and then your leaf turns yellow, and you're in trouble.
Okay. Good advice.
Once you get mildew in your garden, it's really hard to get rid of, so it's better to avoid it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like having a rabbit in your garden. They're pretty, but you don't want them there for, they'll eat your garden. Speaking of rabbits, I like rabbits, Artie.
Yeah.
Rabbits and tortoises.
And you got a big stone tortoise at
Harvey.
Oh, Harvey.
I bought him at Star, and he's wonderful. I don't have to feed him. He doesn't talk back. He just sits and smiles at me.
Star has a great selection of lawn ornaments and things like that. But you got the tortoise in memory of Elvis, who was a tortoise
that was almost that big.
Yeah.
Harvey weighs about 250 pounds. Elvis weighed about 70 pounds.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And Elvis is a live creature, not a cement creature.
That's right. And he ate a lot more than Harvey.
Oh.
I had a friend come over the other day that has a dog named Harvey, and he said, "Harvey, this is Harvey."
Well, what a great show. Okay, so we're going to put all that stuff, take pictures of it, and put all that stuff on our Radio St. George Facebook page.
And please, if you have questions, put them on Facebook or put them on, email them to us. Or,
Radio St. George at gmail.com.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, gmail.com.
Wait, let me see. Let me make sure. Radio St. George at gmail.com. And it's St. George with ST, not SAINT. So it's Radio St. George.
And if you want a date with Artie,
I'm desperate.
Yeah.
Even if you set me up with a house plant,
you'll still go out, huh? Yeah. Well, one thing about it, they're a cheap date. You don't have to buy them a hamburger.
Well, I'm wondering if like, you know how they have comfort, emotional support animals?
Yeah.
I'm wondering if I can get an emotional support / girlfriend plant. And I'm wondering if the movie theaters will allow me to buy a ticket and bring my plant in, my emotional support plant in.
I think they should. I think it'll be less trouble than a bloodhound sitting next to you, or a schnauzer.
And I hoard cats.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking they'd probably prefer that I bring my emotional support plant in
instead of the cats.
Yeah.
And if you really luck out, you'll find a plant that eats cats.
Woody.
Sorry, Artie.
That's
it was just a joke.
That's a sensitive subject,
I
mister.
Know. I love those. I love those cats. I was talking to one yesterday.
Hey, we have about 60 seconds. We forgot to talk about this.
Yeah, that's a clip that you use to hold your tomatoes to the tomato cage, and they have them out at Ballard's and Hurricanes, the only place I know that you can buy them. They come in a package, and you get like 12 for $1.50, and they work really well. So when it's put together, it forms a figure 8. Put it together, Artie, so they can see.
Okay.
And the little circle goes around the cage, and the big circle goes around the tomato stalk. So they're really handy. They're the best kind of clamp like that I've been able to find.
And once again, this is radio, so please go to our blog that we'll be posting.
We'll post some pictures
in a month and a half.
We'll get us. We'll kind of lay on the table and and strike a pose, and then have all this stuff in front of us.
Exactly. Boy, that's an image.
That'll make you sick all day.
Well, Woody, we're done. We are done. Let's throw in the towel for this week. Quick little plug about what we're going to be talking about next week.
We're going to be talking about something next week.
Okay, well there you go. It's the Woody and Garden. Woody Garden.
We'll be talking about gardening, I'm sure.
Okay, it's the What's the name of our show? It's
Artie and Woody's Home and Garden Show.
Yeah, something like that on KXDI. We want to. Oh, by the way, we want to thank what's his face, Sean Denovan, for letting us do the show.
Sean's a man.
He's awesome. All right, it's Radio Dixie 91.3. Woody, have a great week.
Okay, you too, Artie.